As we're live.
Here's a question to ponder. Can you imagine what your life would look like if you stopped taking advice? Now, there's a question. And Monica, you've got an answer for that, haven't you? What is it?
Oh my God. Uh, well, first off, shut down the committee in your head. But I'm laughing, as you well know, I'm laughing because I'm going to sit here and talk about how to not take advice from other people when I'm essentially giving you advice how to not take advice from other people. But here's why this is really critical. You give away your personal power every time you outsource whatever decision you have to make or a problem or opportunity that you want to talk about. You're outsourcing your power to other people. And you have the most powerful source within you. So why would you go outside of yourself to have that conversation when you can just have the conversation with your own inner being? And that's really what this comes down to. I mean, I don't think you need a self-help book. I don't think you need any gurus. My computer's wanking up on me. Hold on a minute. Uh,
Looking clear here, though.
it's because I got too many windows open. Okay, we're back. I'm fine. There's nothing for me to have 15 or 20 windows open. Anyway, hey everybody, how y'all doing tonight? We're gonna have some fun laughing about not taking advice. And this goes
A couple of advice givers telling people not to take advice. You know, it's interesting, Monica. One of maybe the biggest selling niche in nonfiction is the self-help niche.
Sure. Yeah.
The world is hungry for advice,
Mhm.
and we're talking now about stop taking advice, or at least maybe turn the faucet down a little bit and start going into something we talked about last week, which was the void, looking for the answers from within. And look, you can go as deep as you like for this. You could go down a very deep and multi-tunnel rabbit hole, but we're going to keep it rather light, I think. But you had an experience this last week, didn't you, about well, what happened?
I wasn't sleeping is what was happening, and it was driving me crazy. I mean, I even asked ChatGPT for some help. I couldn't find any solutions. And a well-meaning friend suggested that I drink a glass of water with a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar and a little honey. Meh. I got up 5 times that night. Another friend told me that I should eat dill pickles because the apple cider vinegar that they're pickled in, all of that does is help lower your blood sugar, so you don't need to get up and go to the bathroom as often, or as I say, it's the Southern Belle, potty. So that worked a few times, but not enough for me to get any kind of sustainable rest. And then another friend gave me this Rise chocolate that has melatonin in it, and he did not tell me it has a melatonin in it because I cannot take melatonin because I'm drunk the next day from melatonin. I can't
Oh,
do it.
really?
Oh my God, I'm just I'm nothing. I'm a tiny woman. I'm only 4'11", so it doesn't take much for my system to be impacted. And
Wow.
I drank that whole 8 ounces of that hot chocolate, and I went, "Oh, this feels good. I'm gonna go to sleep." And I got up 6 times that night. Every hour and a half, I woke up to go to the bathroom. I said, "This is some crazy stuff." So I went to the void. I got quiet
Mm,
and said,
yeah.
I'm not coming with a problem. That's the thing. You sit in meditation and you have a subject you want to ponder on, but when you sit in the void, it's like surrender, give up. I have no thought about anything. And I came out of it with a very clear feeling that there's nothing wrong other than one thing. Because of folks like you on the other side of the world that are up when I'm in bed, when I would get up and go to the potty, I'd take the phone and I'd sit there and look at what everybody was doing on Substack, and my brain would wake up and go, "Oh, we're break. It's business. Let's go do some business." So it was it was self-generated. The problem was self-created, and the answer was self-created, and I didn't need a committee of people to help me figure that one out.
So here's what comes to mind. First of all, we've got to acknowledge our viewers, don't we, Monica? We've got a number of people. Yeah, we love our live viewers. Thank you very much. How about you just um, let us know in the chat there? Just write a yes or a no. Have you ever bought a self-help book? Have you ever bought a self-help book? Yes or no? Look, I've got a library full of them. I've given a library away and then built it back up again. I think it's something that I became somewhat addicted to, buying
I think we
self-help.
all did. I think we all did. I had a huge library of them until my house burned down, and then I lost my entire. I mean, I had a personal library of 600 books besides self-help, but I probably had about
Oh,
100 of them, you know? And when my house burned down, I lost all of that. And no, I did not go back and replace it. Georgia Stewart says she's bought a self-help book. Thank you, Georgia. Um, Come on, guys. Tell me, have you guys bought any self-help books, or you have them collecting dust on your shelves? That's the one that I find interesting because I think we're all guilty of that. We buy them, we have great intent, we're gonna implement them, we're gonna do I'm point to me, 10 fingers back at me.
yeah. Oh,
Great
yeah.
intent, I'm gonna do it, and life takes me away, and I never get back to doing what I said I was gonna go do. So
Yeah, yeah,
Mary Rice says she's bought a ton. So
yeah.
thank you, Gary. And that's really what my thoughts are on it. I can say this because I've never bought another self-help book since my house burned down in 2007. I made a decision that I was not buying books anymore because that was a hard to my heart loss besides losing my whole house. And I made that decision and I wasn't going to buy anymore. Well, and the other thing that happened is that's about the same time the internet and YouTube and Abraham Hicks or Marianne Williamson or Wayne Dyer, they were all doing YouTube things that you could listen to while you're like cleaning the kitchen or whatever. And
Yeah.
but I will come back to the same thing that none of them tell you to do. And it's the one thing that changed everything in my life. And it was to learn to regulate my nervous system before I set off on a manifesting journey.
Regulate your nervous system sounds pretty high tech. What is that?
Breathing, a certain pattern of breathing. What happens is we get so wired to improve or to manifest or want or desire, and we get caught up in all of these. Here's how you do it. The guru says you'll get $1 million at the end of the year if you do all of these little steps. And in none of those steps do they say, self-regulate your nervous system to be calm and relaxed enough to receive the updated information on how to manifest. None of them say that. And when I started the practice of self-regulation, which I do every day, often every hour on the hour, that completely changed everything for me. It is why I have a Substack of 7,000. That's exactly why, because I'm able to interrupt the pattern of thought that would prevent me from hearing and receiving the information from my inner being to take the next steps and the next steps and the next steps to wishes fulfilled. Because
Let's just
Neville Garber talked about regulating the nervous system.
oh, and I love that the whole concept of wishes fulfilled, as you know. But something comes to mind, could be right now in the mind of one or more of our viewers, Monica, because you said receive. The key word there was receive,
Mhm.
receiving from within, not external sources,
Right.
but from within. Now, what about our viewer who right now is listening to you, Monica, watching you, and they're thinking, I just don't feel that well enough connected to my inner source to be open to receive?
Good question. Good question. That's where building trust with yourself comes into play. um, if I were sitting in that place, and I have been in that place, that's why I can recognize it, I
Yeah.
would start first with the regulation breathing as often as I could do it every day. And the second thing that I would do every day is I would collect evidence of things that have worked out well for me, no matter small or large, that it's a decision or a choice that I made without seeking outside counsel, outside advice. You didn't go to mama, you didn't go to your sister, you didn't go to your cousins, your husband, your brother, your dad. You went to nobody. You just made a choice for yourself and it worked out well. Start writing those down because that is evidence that you can trust your relationship with your soul. Because most people feel like they can't. Soul
That's
being
true.
intuition or your angel guides or whatever. The name doesn't matter. What
No.
matters is that you need to build trust that you can believe that inner voice. I'll listen to my gut and my inner voice 100% over anything else. In
The
fact, when the
question
doctor
then,
told me, I'll tell you a quick story. Doctor wanted to put me on high blood pressure medicine about 15 years ago. And
yeah,
I just kinda give him one of these like, "Oh, no, you're not." And actually, it was a she, and she said looked at me, she says, "I'm not gonna bother to write this. You're gonna mentally override this, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah." And I've never been on it. I've never had to because I take the time to make my physical body, my mental body, my emotional body the priority of my life. Nobody else gets to come into that little sphere of my energy until I've done the things I have to do every day to make that the priority.
so we're talking right now about trusting yourself and trusting the answers that are already within, as opposed to constantly seeking external validation of whatever, or even answers and new ideas from external sources. All those people you rattled off, your family, neighbours, the bloke down the road who walks his dog, whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, Now, Monica, when we say trust your inner guide, your inner source, whatever terminology you want to use, how do we decipher from the ego self voice as opposed to the primary source voice?
Do I have a story for you?
Right.
2 days ago, I was washing my I have an 8-foot wide, mirror in my bathroom. It's a big bathroom. And I was up on the ladder and I was washing it and went, "Ah, my hair looks pretty good. Maybe I should do a live today." Now, don't laugh, but my hair looking decent means something to me. So, and I finished the chores and then I started thinking, okay, why would I do a live? What's the purpose of that? And
Mm.
the more I started having that self-inner dialogue, the less I wanted to do it. So from about 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock, I had pretty much talked myself out of it because I was filled with doubt. I had a whole boat reason. But the biggest one was this. I had made some strategic changes in how I position and work on Substack with my subscribers. And
Mm.
my ego was over here going, you can't do that live. You said you were going to do that, and that's the plan, and you got to stay with the plan. And finally, I want to say about 6 or 7 o'clock that evening, I did the surrender thing. I said, "This is nuts. I give up. I can't make my mind up about this. So I'm just not going to do anything. I'm not going to paint. I'm not going to do a line. I'm going to have a pity party, basically." So I sat here at my desk and kind of tried to distract myself by looking at the news and reading Facebook. And I heard over here, "Get up and do the live now." And within 5 minutes of that, I was up doing the live because there was no self talk to talk my. I had no doubt. I had zero doubt. All I knew was I was being told, "Do it now." Now, here's the thing. I didn't even
Mm.
know what the subject was going to be. And as it turns out, I got some thank yous after that live from some people saying, "I really needed to hear what you had to say. Thank you so much." So you see, my soul knew before I knew.
Yeah, that's great. Is that the live you did where you pulled one of your PDFs out and worked or read from the first chapter?
Mhm. I was just shooting from the hip, Mike. Totally
Yeah.
shooting from yeah. And yeah, I sent out several more PDFs from that night because people requested, and I told them, if you just send me your email, I'll send it to you. I'll be glad to. Um, because I think it's critically important. One of the reasons, um, women in particular, okay, I don't think men have it as strongly as women. I'm not going to discount men, but I think women have it really strongly. In my age group, we were raised to not take our. We were being haughty if we said, "I know how to do this" ourselves. We were raised to seek out your father, your brother, your uncle, the men in the pulpit, the deacon at the church. You were not raised to trust yourself. You were raised that you didn't have that ability to trust yourself. And that's the real reason I hammer on this so much because I see it over and over and over by virtue of the little notes that people write me.
That's so wonderful, and what a great story of how you were able to um, listen and to be able to determine what was and act upon the true inner voice as opposed to the ego voice, simply by taking that time to step away from everything. As you say, you looked at Facebook, you were watching the news, and just keeping your mind rather neutral. In other words, other than what the external media sources were feeding you, and then it popped in. That pop in. You said that it kind of popped in, didn't it? It's
Yeah.
like it's like when we've misplaced our keys or we can't remember a name, and when we stop trying to remember, when we stop searching, then all of a sudden it comes. Oh, the keys are there. Oh, the name's there. Oh, the name of that movie. And so when you stop trying and stop efforting, sometimes that's the best way of making the inner voice present itself. But you do need to be open to it, don't you?
Well, and you get out, you'll start trusting it and you'll start being open to it if you'll do the practice of collecting evidence of things that just kind of worked out well and you didn't know why they worked out well. You just did it. And you didn't have any intention behind it. Something happened and it worked out well. Write that down. Write down what it felt like. Collect the evidence that things have worked out well somewhere along your life's path because you cannot live life without something good happening. So I know that something somewhere, somebody that has experienced something good that they can put down in a little list. And you can do it on your phone. I mean, I'm not talking about anything uh, great, like go get a journal. I am not talking about journaling. I do not believe in journaling. I think that's performance spirituality. I don't think that's living spirituality. There's two different things there. So if you just write it down, it's only for you to go back and review and remind yourself. And the more you do it, you're going to get this momentum moving so that you go, oh, yeah, there was something guiding me. Let me connect with that. I want to connect with that energy. I want to be part of that because it's really about ultimately developing a strong bond between yourself and the energy from the universe that lives within you. That's really ultimately what it's about. And it's an unbreakable bond. It is there whether you acknowledge it or not.
So our viewers that are with us, Monica, or those listening to the podcast after the event, the recording, they would be somewhere on a timeline from 0 to 100, let's say, from 0 to 100. 0 being I'm 100% skeptical to all this, and on the other end, 100, I'm so all in on this, it's not funny. And then there'd be some in the middle, sort of sitting on the fence. Uh, what 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 could we say to? All right, so our friends that are all in with us, they're all in. Fantastic to have you on board. And those who are sitting on the fence, well, okay, listen to your inner voice and see which way you want to fall. But what could we say if we want to say anything at all to those who are totally skeptical? They just think it's all bunkum.
Go make an experiment. come up with things that you've been thinking about doing. Everybody has stuff in the back of their mind. Oh, I've been pondering, I've been thinking, I've been wondering. But don't tell anybody what you're thinking or wondering or doing, and just keep it to yourself. And don't ask anybody for any advice on how to do what you're thinking about, and just do it as an experiment. Prove it to yourself. You have
Yeah.
literally nothing to lose. Nothing
It's
to lose.
exactly how Neville Goddard, the mystic of last century, went about. He didn't sell or hard sell his theories. He said exactly the same as what you did. Test it. Put it to the test in your own experience. Prove it to yourself. And that's probably the best advice. Here we go. That's probably the best. Maybe we should write a self-help book about that, Monica. Oh dear. But but we're not, or are we suggesting that people give up entirely buying their self-help books or listening to their self-help podcasts or discussing with their neighbor or their friend or their close relative an idea?
Well, I actually have a thought about that. I think one of the other missing components in the self-help industry, well, there's 2 things I'm gonna tell you. I think it's a very codependent industry. They
Mm,
need you to be dependent for their next series of book sales or their
yeah.
series of videotapes or whatever. They need you. That's their marketing thing. Now, for me, if I do my job well, y'all don't need to come back to me anymore. If I do this
Yeah.
right, I'm done. Adios, goodbye. The other thing that I think about that is that, oh shoot, I just lost my train of thought. It happened. What was your question again?
Yeah. They don't ask me. I'm the same. I'm in the same boat. Yeah. Yeah.
You're younger than me. You don't get to do
Well, not by much. I have trouble
that.
getting out of a beanbag. Hmm?
Was the question about sitting on the fence? Or
No, yeah, no, the skeptics who think that all this inner voice, guidance, from the source is bunkum and, you know oh, yeah, and then I said, "No, sorry, no, we went." That's right, I asked, "Are we suggesting that, we don't read any self-help, but we throw them all out,
oh,
burn the self-help books, stop listening to the self-help podcasts?" We're not suggesting that, are we?
I'm not making any suggestions for anybody other than how I'm just telling you what happened to me. I stopped buying any self-help material when my house burned down.
That's
None.
right, that's right.
I have none. And I don't really read any self-help Substacks. I don't go down that road either. I actually don't read a lot of Substacks because I don't have a whole lot of time, to be honest with you. Between painting and writing, I don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
But it's not about not I don't wanna say don't go buying any. I wanna say make your priority to become a student of yourself. Learn about yourself. You'd be surprised how many people live on autopilot, and they don't really know what makes their clock tick. They just, "Oh, the magazine said this shirt would be pretty, so I'll go buy that. Maybe he'll like me if I buy that shirt." And believe me, I know that dynamic. I lived it. But once you really know yourself, first off, know really what makes your clock tick or what's important to you, there's nothing anybody that Deepak Chopra could say that will change how you think and live your life. By the way, Deepak is coming out with a new book about retirement. It's called The Final Chapter.
You won't be buying it.
No.
Okay. I'll tell you what comes to mind. Uh, you're a painter, an artist. Are you a painter or an artist? Often, are the two the same?
Um, there was a point in time that I felt fraudulent when I called myself an artist.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, and I said, "No, no, no, I'm a painter. I paint because I was doing paintings that pleased other people. I would paint
Here's
that."
here's. Sorry, Monica. Sorry, I stepped on you.
No, no, go ahead.
Yeah, I was the same when I started copywriting. So I made a living copywriting, writing advertising and marketing material for 10 years. But in the beginning, I thought I felt a fraud as well, calling myself a copywriter. I thought that's what other people who are skilled at doing this stuff do. I'm just someone who's trying to be a copywriter. Anyway, what came to mind when you were talking when you were answering that question of do we stop reading self help books? To my mind, that's why I brought in the artist painter reference. You use paints and you use brushes and you have an empty canvas when you begin. The This is my opinion only. This is not Monica's opinion. This is mine. There is a lot of useful information available in the external world, not the inner world, where the source of information and intuition is. But there's a lot of useful information in the external world to me, which is like your oils, your paint, your colours, and your paint brushes. But how you use those colours and how you use the brushes and the brush strokes determines what goes onto your unique canvas. And I think that's the opportunity we have to be selective about what colours we choose, what brushes we use, the pressure of the stroke, etc., all the stuff you know as a painter. But what comes onto the canvas in our life is determined on how we apply it all. And so we can be very selective. Go to the smorgasbord of self-help material if you must. If that's what you really like doing, do it, but be selective. You know, someone once said to me, I had this huge library, like not as many as you see. Did you say 600 self-help books, Monica?
No, I had a whole library. No, not self-help. 600 books, and about 100 of them were self-help.
Oh, righto, yeah. So I'm in about the same league. I probably would have bought over 100 books. The first one when I was 21, I bought Power of Positive Thinking by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, and then that set me off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Smorgasbord. Now, try this. For those who have still got this massive library, I bet you there's 80 to 90% of those books you've never finished. You've only got through to chapter 1 or chapter 2. It happens. We're all the same. Here's the thing. Go grab one maybe, if you must, and finish reading it and then take one insight, just one, and apply that for 30 days and watch what happens. But use the inner voice as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if they're sitting on your shelf, go for it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would do that. I think I would. I don't know. Um, I'm such a, dogmatic person when it comes to the soul because even the painting, when I fell in love with my soul is when I stopped referring to myself as a painter and I became an artist because the works that I do are not pre-planned. The canvas tells me what it wants. I don't
Mm.
have a plan for this. I'm just the facilitator of what's getting ready to come out of my brush and what colors and so on. I had a dream 2 nights ago that told me a particular green that is showing up on this piece right here that I would have
Oh, yeah.
never mixed. I would have never mixed it, but the dream came to me and I was like, "Oh, I gotta go mix that," and it's gorgeous. I love it. Um, but that's the partnership, and that's what I love about it so much is it's a partnership between me and my soul, and I don't need an outside source to navigate that relationship. It is the primary relationship in my life. So I but when you collect evidence over and over and over, you lose the ability to doubt what you're hearing in your head. You just kinda know. You know that you know what I mean? You j
Knowing you know what you know. I wonder if our viewers who are live with us, Monica, would just pop a yes or a no in the chat box there. A yes or a no. Do you actively use your intuition? Do you actively use your intuition? Let us know in the chat, just a yes or a no. Actively use it, meaning you're using it regularly. You're listening to that inner voice. And while our viewers put a yes or a no in the chat box, if I can just be a bit lighthearted, I'm reminded of that silly gag where the great architect of the universe was in the process of creation, and it wanted to uh, create a horse, but he assigned it to the committee of angels to design the horse, and that's how we ended up with a camel. So the story,
That's great.
so the idea. Glad you like it. So the
And it's
idea
hump
there.
day. Today is hump day.
Okay, very appropriate. So, so the connection there is the more people you ask for opinions and advice, the more variations you'll get, and you'll end up with a camel, which is when you really wanted a horse or you thought you were going to have a horse.
Right.
So that's a silly way of bringing that idea home. And Monica, it's been another wonderful discussion here on this whole topic of inner voice and trusting yourself, trusting the inner self rather than the ego self when it comes to answers, ideas, prompts. What are your closing thoughts before we finish up?
I just think you're worth taking the time to be a student of yourself. And I think that's the most necessary component is learn more about yourself. Take the time to notice. You know where I started with this? When I noticed just how much I enjoyed feeling the warm water, warm, sudsy water over my hands. Usually when I'm washing dishes. Usually when you're running a household and you're busy, you wash the dishes, you get it done because you've got another task to get to. Now I stopped and I noticed how good that felt, and the more I pondered how good it felt and I started moving my hands around, boom, some ideas for my painting came into my mind. But my point is I started doing little activities. When I say become a student of yourself, notice what lights you up. Pay attention. It could happen in a millisecond, like the soap thing, and it's like, "Wow, this feels really good," and I just started playing with it and thinking about it and, rubbing the hot water over my hands and thinking words like luscious and delicious started coming to my mind, and I wanna do this, I like more of this in my life, this feels really good, and then, I went off and did something else, but I noticed it, and
Mm,
that is a key element to everything to become a student of your own life.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
I love
it
that.
it
I love that.
yeah. Be your own
I love that.
teacher of your own life.
I love that. But and also noticing, that's such a key word. We should talk more about that, about observing and the noticing, because, yeah. Well, Monica, thank you very much. It's been my pleasure joining you again. So thank you for having me on board, and thanks to our
Oh,
viewers who have been with us as well. We always have fun, and so until next time, Monica, should we say goodbye?
next hump day, we'll be live again at 8 o'clock.
Looking forward to it.
Bye.
Toodaloo.